after Heroes versus Villains on May 7th, 2016. And man, it was great. It was great to kind of start our summer season.
You're right, PK. Clean slate for everybody, PK. And I'll tell you something right now. I see a lot of great things. Last week was a major black eye in the history of the OSWA with all the horrific losses, cheating that was done. But you know what? This is a new chapter. This is a new age, and this is a new life for the OSWA.
You know, Joe, they usually say the victor writes the history.
What?
But in this case, it seems like you're writing your own. Anyways,
What?
translate that how you will.
What are you talking about, Dad?
Well, Joe, we had the first match tonight was Mac Mosley versus Ken O'Sullivan. What happened was David Garrison came out with Mac Mosley and with Jamar Anderson and said, hey, you know what, Bobby Popper, you need to come out here because my guys aren't getting their shot.
And rightfully so, PK. They weren't getting any shots. PK, they come here week after week. They work so hard. They train. They wrestle. And Bobby Popham wasn't giving them anything, PK.
Well, Joe, Bobby Popham came out and said, okay, fine, you guys want your shot? Jamar Anderson, you're going to go up against Chris Damian for the Ultimate title. And Mac Mosley, you're going to face this guy. And who comes out? Ken O'Sullivan.
Yeah, puts him up against this angry Irish brute. I'll tell you something, PK, that is disgusting he would do that. The man doesn't even hold the title. What kind of shot was that?
Well, Joe, Mac Mosley did win. And so, you know, Bobby Popham did tell him, hey, if you win, you get a title shot. What's interesting, we have Bobby Popham here right now to discuss this a little bit further.
Oh.
Your boss and mine, CEO Bobby Popham. Sir, how are you?
Bobby
I'm
Popham.
doing great. I'm doing great. You know, you're exactly right, guys. This is the brand new beginning for the summer of 2016 at OSWA, and like you said, a lot of the stuff happened. A lot of the heroes won, but that was 7 days ago. Now we're talking about the future. We're talking about going forward, and of course, David Garrison, he wants to come out and he wants to talk about how his the compound's not getting a fair shake. Well, the question I proposed to him is like, what have they done? So of course, I set him up with Ken, the Irish Ken O'Sullivan, and surprisingly, they were able to win.
That's right.
By cheating, but
What?
they won anyway. It's going to go on the record.
Oh, so you
books.
did notice the crowbar as well, because Joe had a hard time seeing it.
I
did.
was concentrating.
I did, but our great refs, they didn't see it, so it stands, and I guess now it's time for me to sit down and kind of figure out what we're going to do with Mac Mosley. Jamar, you had your shot, come up short. Maybe you'll get another shot later, but you know I'm ready for these people to start looking at this and stepping up. I mean, this is a great time. It's a great transition to step up, to get their name out. We're bringing in a lot of new names. I mean, we brought in Jacob Ashworth. Never wrestled before at the OSWA. We brought in Slim J. We brought in Billy Buck. We brought back Chad Silva. A lot of people in the back are mad because Chad Silva's back. I'm not mad at all. Chad Silva is a great competitor. He is a former Ultimate Champion, and he seems to have his sights set on Chris Damian, the brand new Ultimate Champion. So, I mean, love him or hate him, I mean, he's here, and if you want him to go away, step up and become that #1 contender, because it's wide open right now. So,
Look at that.
Well, hey, I was glad we get to get you on the recap again to kind of get your thoughts.
yes, definitely. And like I said, I mean, you know, I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the next couple months. So, y'all have fun.
I'll tell you so. We just got we gleaned a little wisdom here from Bobby Popham. And then, Joe, that led us to our next match. The Book Club, James Boulevard and Kimbo versus The Royal for the tag title match.
Yeah, no, PK, I'll tell you something. I got to say this. The Royal did make some serious improvements this week because they only double-teamed to win this match, whereas last week to win the title, they triple-teamed.
Even though it was a six-man tag.
Yeah,
No,
well,
you can do that in a six-man tag. You just can't do it all the time like the Bad Boys Club does.
No, what?
Yes, exactly. So, you're right, Joe.
Yeah,
What happened was, you know, Marcus Adams did a fireman carry suplex on Kimbo, and then right after that, Patrick Samuels does a double stomp for the top rope, and they got the pin and successfully defended their titles. Now, Joe, Jonathan Fellner did come out during that match.
That's right.
So it kind of makes me wonder if he's scouting out for CTMD's eventual, if they want to take it, rematch in their rematch clause. We'll have to see.
Of course they're going to take it, PK. Believe me, Jonathan Feltner's a smart man. I know exactly what he's doing. Yes, I do, PK.
Did you talk to him about it?
Yes, PK.
Okay.
He was out there for the third match.
That's right. Z. Williams versus, as CEO Bobby Popham already said, Jacob Ashworth, a guy that has wrestled in a lot of places. First time here in the O. I got to admit, Joe, I was fairly impressed. He took on the Monster Z, the longest reigning Ultimate Champion we've ever had, and he won.
Well, I'll tell you something. That man, Jacob Ashworth, he's no spring chicken. He's been in the world of professional wrestling for a long time, and he's wrestled in a lot of places. So it's no surprise to me that a man with that much experience can come in here and defeat our longest reigning Ultimate Champion.
Well, Monster Z was distracted by the White Knight's Herald.
Yeah, well,
And Jacob Ashworth did get a legit victory, and it was, I mean, I saw the Monster Z actually reach back and bang to his lower back. So obviously Jacob Ashworth really brought it to him. But it's interesting because, like, the Monster Z walked out with the Herald, so it makes you wonder what the White Knight and the Herald have planned for the Monster Z, and if the Monster Z is going to rejoin the King's Court.
Well, we're going to find out, PK. What I'm more interested in is why Jonathan Feltner was out there for that match, too. And I have my suspicions, and actually I talked to him. He is building his own stable, PK. I think in the future we're going to have the Feltner Federation, PK.
Well, Joe, then we had Michael Manson versus Keith Cage for the Generations Championship. Michael Manson, A for effort, but unfortunately came up short this round when he was on the top rope, getting ready to make his final move, when Keith Cage pushed the ref into the corner, knocking Michael Manson off the ropes.
Smart
He
move.
then did a decapitator and got the win.
That's right, Keith Cage, I'll tell you something, he finally has the heart of a champion. He may be a boy, but I'll tell you something, he's a man in my heart now. He's no longer the 7th grade sensation, PK. No, he is the sensation.
Well, Joe, it's amazing how quickly when a guy stabs his friends in the back, how quickly you change your opinion of them.
What?
Then we had
No.
Jamar Anderson versus Chris Damian for the Ultimate Championship. Jamar Anderson got his shot because David Garrison worked it out with CEO Bobby Popham. And unfortunately, for Jamar Anderson, Damian hit the Bronco Buster and wound up getting the win. But what was more interesting after that match, out of nowhere, I hadn't seen this dude all day, out of nowhere, Chad Silva jumps in the ring and attacks Chris Damian. Well, Chris Damian wasn't going to take it. He attacks him back. Chad Silva says, "Man, that's my belt." And Chris Damian said, "You know what? Anytime, Chad. Anytime."
Well, I'll tell you something, everybody's all upset about Chad Silva coming back. Well, I'll tell you something, those people who are they're jealous. They're not mad, they're jealous. Because Chad Silva, the former Ultimate Champion, back in the saddle, ready to come in and dominate again. And let's face it, if you were good enough to take him on, you wouldn't be upset that he was back.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you, it's good to see him back. I have to admit, Chad
That's
Silva,
right.
he was a good competitor. But
Absolutely.
He wants his shot at the Ultimate title. He's going to have to work his way up just like everybody else does.
Well, I'll tell you something, even if he has to work his way from the bottom, believe me, he'll be there before you know it.
Well, Joe, it's not up to you or I. It's up to CEO Bobby Popham. And we'll see how he takes this challenge that Chris Damian and Chad Silva have thrown at each other.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Then, Joe, the final match we had was the Bad Boys Club, represented by Kit Bryson, Curtis Coleman, and Jake Hughes, against Slim J, Adrian Phillips, and our corporate champion, Brody Dillinger. Now, Joe, this was a match that was set up just before Iron Intermission, and I'll tell you something, it was a great match. But ultimately, Slim J hit a sunset flip, winds up pinning Jake Hughes, giving the Bad Boys Club another loss.
Yeah, you know, you're saying that like
Epic.
you enjoy it.
Oh,
Well, I'll tell you
I
something, I'll admit it. Slim J definitely set the bar for how we should all be in the OSWA. I'm man enough to say it. If you want to get far in this industry, you do what he does. But let me tell you something, PK.
Tell me.
Remember the Bad Boys Club.
The Mean Girl Sorority?
We're no slouches either, PK. And that victory was hard fought for Slim J.
Oh, it definitely was. But what was really interesting was
Was what, PK?
Clint Eller's friends.
Can't cut your tongue.
No. I was just trying to figure out how I was going to put this. Clint Eller's
It was
friends.
the Odd Squad.
The Odd
They
Squad,
are
okay?
odd.
Sweet Daddy, Dark Gable, John the Body Johnson, and of course Johnny Walker. They're in the ring.
Yeah.
And they wound up taking on the Bad Boys Club.
Bunch of old timers.
And they wind up basically skirting them all out of the ring and ultimately
Skirting?
Yes, exactly.
No, let me tell you something. The Brat Pack, whatever they call, they didn't realize that this wasn't a reunion for St. Elmo's Fire. No, this was OSWA. They barged their way in. They went in there and they bullied us around by attacking us from behind. And then the lowest of the low happens, speaking. That retired man, that Mac has been, Johnny Walker, instead of doing what he said he would and retiring and going to the beach with some little metal detector to collect coins like he should, you come in here and you steal the 24/7 champion from our guy, the great Percival Tobias Benson III, Esquire. That is the lowest thing you can do. Why don't you go back to Scotland and look for that stupid monster in the lake?
Joe, do you need a hug?
No,
Do you need,
don't touch me.
do you need some loving?
No, Pete, I'm just, I'm a little frustrated here, okay?
It's obvious, and our fans will notice it too.
No.
But folks, the real interesting thing is we've got some other great developments coming here in the OSWA. You know, this is an election year.
You know what's funny, Joe? The
What?
interesting thing, you seem to be like heated a little bit about what happened to the Bad Boys Club.
I'm a passionate
But
man.
But I've got it, but tonight, I announced that over the next few months, we're going to hold a 100% real election where anybody can be the commissioner if they're voted in. So, Joe, if you want to figure out how to get the Bad Boys out of their slump, why don't you run for commissioner?
I am nominating myself. I am throwing my hat in the ring. If you all vote for me, the O Arena will become the next Madison Square Garden, and all these guys I will make as superstars.
Well, there you go, folks. We're putting it in your hands. You're going to elect the next commissioner at the OSWA.
Can it be me?
Together, we're going to make OSWA great again.
We're going to make it the great machine of the South, PK.
Well, Joe, if you're going to make it so great,
Yes.
tell about our next show and when it's coming up.
Our next show is going to be May 21st, 2 weeks from today. Doors open at 6. Bell rings at 7. If you are anybody who's worth anything, you be here. You be at the arena. And I'm talking to all of North Georgia. No. I'm talking to all the Southeast. No. I am talking to the United States. No. I'm talking to North America and the world. If you want real action, come watch us.
Folks, we'll see you in 2 weeks.